Your camera did it turn off or something? And we're live.
Working.
Yep, I see it here on my iPad.
Well, what's up, everybody? Oh, got it a little bit better. Sorry about the audio last night. Good morning. Good morning. This is the road to contact in the desert, baby. Finally, we were jet lagged last night, man. I was tired. You were falling asleep mid conversation. I couldn't even process thought forms correctly because I had like some, what is it, lactic acid running through my brain. Just, but I hit that reset button and woke up like a champion today. I feel great. How about you?
Yeah, I think it was like 1 a.m. we got to sleep, so it wasn't quite as later. Getting over some of that jet lag coming from the East Coast to California. And yeah, I slept fine. I didn't remember too much of my dreams,
Nope.
just a couple scenes, but that tends to happen when you're busy all day doing a lot of work, expending energy, building things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's chill. Trying to do some more vlog style videos here coming up for kind of like the contact in the desert part of the trip. So that'll be exciting. To get a final kind of cut of that together, so you can live the adventure. But for now, you got us here live.
Yeah. Live in full effect. Let me turn this on so I can actually see the chat and everything. Heck yeah. Oh, oof. Contact in the desert, baby. I'm excited. I'm gonna meet
We're
up with
so
some.
excited. We got three pre-streams.
Yeah, gonna meet up with some homies. It's gonna be cool. Just got off the phone with one of them, a Urantia book reader, so that's exciting. Shout out to my brother Charles. About to see Devin, Erica, Byron, Belitzos, Lynn. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. Hopefully, we get to see some UAP, some space brothers come in and give us some information. We were talking about this yesterday about like how it kind of needs mass consent. It seems like they don't want to abrogate or, just throw free will to the side. You have to respect people's free will. So when it comes to a big group of people and you're trying to see a UFO, if someone isn't mentally ready, spiritually ready, or really doesn't believe it, that could prevent the entire group from having an experience. So the more people you add to the group, it seems like there's more variables, more factors, and just stuff to be conscious of when you're trying to manifest these things. And that's why we think this event's going to be great, because it's going to be one of the most concentrated masses of people, personalities, mind, body, spirit complexes, all willing to see this. So that in itself is going to be like a unique time space bubble that we create that actually will probably warp gravity in a specific way, because we know there's not only physical gravity, there's mental and spiritual gravity, and that the angelic beings, the celestials, they can probably pick this up some way through some scientific means. And that's exciting for us. So we're going to keep our eyes up at the sky. Like you said, we're going to do vlog style and live stream, and hopefully we can manifest something. Like, it's not off the table, guys. So I hope you guys are as excited as we are, because I want to see a space brother, dog.
Yeah, definitely. The CE5 meditations are popular, for weird lights showing up and doing a bunch of crazy stuff. I've never really done that with like a group legit, but we're gonna be camping in the desert, so we might do our own CE5, and maybe we'll get invited to someone else's that they're having in the local area. But I like, yeah, the idea of consensus reality versus reality. And in a way, there's a couple different things that kind of determine the bandwidth of reality that we currently observe. Number one, you could just say our normal five senses. That's a bandwidth of reality. Our eyes are only able to separate a certain amount of light frequency. Once it gets to infrared and below, we can't visibly notice it with our irises, and that's a bandwidth of reality that we are able to observe. Then same with sound, same with touch, hot and cold. It can only get so hot and cold before our nerves kind of just die, and you no longer are able to feel, with that. So, in terms of like a group event, now we're talking about sort of there's another bandwidth of reality that can change, and that is like actually your mental state and the belief systems around you, um, to the point where you could say extra dimensional realities will be more likely to occur or be noticed because there's a heightened group of people that are all thinking and focused in a similar way with a similar intention. And in terms of alien contact, what Dedrick was saying is that like the telepathic alien civilizations can kind of get a read on the people on Earth or in a specific sector. And when you got a group of people who are all like want to make peaceful contact, and that thought is there concentrated in one location. And when you specifically do, group meditations about making contact, that's what they call the CE5. You put that intent out there, and the universe is mental. Telepathy is sort of a natural ability that humanity has just sort of forgotten about or doesn't really utilize or practice. But, the Space Brothers can pick that up and kind of choose to how to interact based on everyone's comfortability, because it could be quite shocking for some people. I imagine some people could have a bit of a mental breakdown if they were to make direct contact and they did not want that to happen. So, some interesting thoughts on the social consciousness of every planet. There's a level of respect that some of the more advanced races kind of seem to operate by. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting concept to play with and think about. Um, like you're talking about, and we're talking about the time space distortions, or the way that time space, I guess, bends in a different way when multiple personalities are in the same vicinity, and if there's thinking about the same thing. We know that thoughts are real. They're just as real as when I touch myself right now. Ooh, that sounded weird. thoughts thoughts are real. Let me get a good grip on this mic right now. Sorry, that's probably loud for the people. Thoughts are real. Like when you touch something physical, like when I touch this table, that's real, but thoughts are real as well. They motivate people, they fuel people, they drive people through reality. They Every time you think a thought, like I want to get a better job, I want to make more money, or I want to create a spiritual organization on the face of planet Earth. Those thoughts are your goals, and those are the images you see in your mind. And those images are that's your food, that's your steak, that's your bread. That's what Jesus, or in the Bible it says, man must not live off bread alone. He must live also on the word of God. He's talking about these thought forms that propel you. Certain thought forms, I'm sure, have different shapes and different colors and different frequencies and vibrations. Like the thought form of stabbing someone is probably a pretty low color and let's say a simple square, a dark square. Okay. And then the thought of like love and happiness would be like, love would be, let's say, 12 circles like a mandala in pink and red with white triangles connecting it. And the feeling of courage would be like, I don't know, orange triangles mixed with this, radiating at this frequency. These are just all examples. I'm not saying these are exactly what they are. But now think about this. Every time you think a thought, they're not your thoughts. You have some of your own original thoughts, which could be unreal or real based on how they line up with reality. But the eternal thoughts, the real thoughts, have been thought billions upon billions of years in the past. There are primordial thought forms in the universe that have been thought. You can't even put a number on the years in the past. The Father has thought these thoughts. Ancient paradise beings have thought these perfect thoughts. And those thoughts are time space pre-qualified, time space qualified. We can have that conversation later. But they're eternal thoughts. They existed before the universe existed. And these are thoughts of perfection. One man, us down here in the universe, starts to think these thoughts, aka let this light seep into our personality. We start to vibrate in accordance with this primordial ancient thought form that is real. Like the thought form of brotherhood, progress, love. Those are real eternal thought forms that existed before the material universe existed. The thought forms of trying to get a Ferrari, that wasn't an eternal thought form. That's an unreal thought form, and it will wipe away in time and space. Only eternal thought forms can exist forever. So if you identify with the eternal thought forms, you will start to exist, and you will start to get that spiritual gravity that pulls you towards that central aisle. But what I'm saying is, thought forms are real. That's the main point I'm getting at. So when you think certain thoughts, they distort's the wrong word because we use it so negatively, but they warp time and space. They shape time and space. Thoughts shape time and space. If you think a thought and hold it in your mind and you walk around in situations and then that thought makes you act and express a certain way, such as I want to be nice to people, that thought is now, you are shaping time and space with those thought forms. And you're acting like a conduit, a circuit for that ancient primordial thought form into this time space reality. Multiple people get together in a group and think the same thought form, and if that thought form is aligned with the cosmic ancient eternal thought forms as opposed to stupid thought forms like, get money, fuck bitches, you will start to shape and warp time and space to a point where the space brothers, the seraphim, the angelic beings, the ETs can pick that up. And that's why we're excited to go to this Contact in the Desert event. It should be an extreme concentration of these thought forms that align with, wanting to see UFOs. I'm not saying that is the thought form that aligns with the primordial thought form of the universe, but I'm saying it is a higher frequency than McDonald's, Sex and the City, Marvel movies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is a thought form that resonates at a different frequency. And it's nice that you can get individuals in society like me and Tay Chilla and my friend Drew tonight. Hopefully we'll try to do a CE5 on our own at Catalina Island, where the Tic Tac was filmed. One of the hottest spots for UFO activity there is, and we're going to film it. Hopefully we find something. But you can do it in little groups like that. But when you start stacking personalities, whoo, that time-space bubble is going to be fucking like the Egyptians on mushrooms during the summer solstice. It's going to be crazy, dude.
Yeah. A rip in the tear of normie social consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the power of events, of the group consciousness. Notice at a concert, notice how the crowd kind of like moves together, or when the vibe changes and something's happening and then the crowd reacts and it spreads real fast.
Oh, it's like you see like a
Yeah,
ripple.
and you see the
like
ripple of reaction, and even that, like,
Uh-huh.
dancing together like super close. There's like there's a group consciousness where that like electricity, those brain waves are like syncing up,
Yep,
linking
it's
up.
crazy, dude. Isn't that so weird? And like it reminds me of like when you look at cells in a petri dish and you like introduce like a chemical, like you see the cells react. Like, have you ever seen when someone puts like alcohol in like I think it's like a petri dish of single cell organisms and it will kill them. And when they do it, they nope, out of there. You see the cells all like, you know what I'm saying? It's like humans. If you like, a bomb goes off, the humans do the same thing. Like, on a cellular level, the cells do it and we do it too. It's that weird like synced concert, as above so below, geometrical frequencies and fractals that exist on what the homie said last night. What did he say? He said
Scaling fractally.
Scaling fractals. Exactly, scaling fractals. So it's pretty cool. And maybe with these thought forms, if we could like spread them like Play-Doh along the face of the earth together, and we can all get into that vibe, maybe Star Trek will be real and the Vulcans will land and will enter the planet, the Federation of Planets.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about Dedrick said, the main point of the conference is not just people that want to see aliens. To me, there's a deeper kind of heart to the idea of Contact in the Desert.
Just want to see.
It's really the search for truth and the question about who am I and what is reality? What is the reality that I'm in?
Yep.
I think that's probably one of the highest thought forms there is the search for truth amidst a world of kind of lies and just marketing and influence for, you know, a lot of personal gain. Apparently it is the loss, the UFO secret is, you know, also tied up with a lot of personal gain. Who holds the power? Who holds the knowledge? Um, how do we direct science in a specific direction to, you know, not discover this technology so that we can get an edge on the other countries and stay 20 years ahead? There's a lot of, you know, personal gain which affects the sort of access to the truth, how easy it is to access the truth. And at this UFO conference, you know, the UFO topic is still like very, you almost have to go in with like a journalistic mindset where you have to like find the witnesses. You got to like talk to people yourself.
Do your own work.
You gotta do their own work because it's not like fleshed out yet. It's still such a large mystery that most people think it's not real.
The frontier.
It only just came out of the conspiracy level in the past couple years in terms of the public mainstream perception. But it's like it's still opening up. I told D-Bake, I'm like, right now this is like before the band is cool. Like people are gonna start hopping on the bandwagon with the whole disclosure kind of movement as it progresses through Congress and gets written into laws and more whistleblowers come forward. Like it's gonna become a normal thing to talk about. However, by now we're already on to the next star. We're like wondering what the next move is because
Exactly.
the band is cool. Now everyone knows about it. And they're asking the questions we were asking years ago. So what we're trying to bring to this channel is sort of like
We found the Beatles.
the next.
We found Jimi Hendrix before everybody else found him.
Now we're trying to tell you like, here's how we enjoy and activate these new truths in our living experience.
Yeah.
You know, the fact of we are not alone is just like one level. The second part, the more meaningful part, is the thought forms that you take from it. Are you going to be afraid that we're not alone because now there's a bigger man in the forest than us, or a stronger, if the strong man, now you don't think you're the strong man because there might be other intelligence more advanced than you? Or are you going to be wonder and adventurous, excited to, you know, discover our neighboring galactic humanhood, families, non-humans? Like it's such a cool adventure. That's why people like Star Trek.
Exactly. Yes. That's. I was gonna say, I don't know if you're a nerd like me. I picked up these crystals because when you were talking, you're reminding me of little celestial nuggets that you're pulling out of the ether, and this is what I think your thoughts just manifested on my hand. They look beautiful, by the way. It looks like Taylor's brain.
Wow.
Looks beautiful.
Amazing.
Just ripped them out of thin air right there. Yeah, that's right. I got that power.
It's called manifestation.
Manifestation. Do you remember the opening line to Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Haven't seen it.
That's the series, you know, the Picard with the bald hair.
Okay.
TNG. It goes space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Star Trek Enterprise. But I just like that, space, the final frontier. It's what you said. It's like, it's exciting. It's like Indiana Jones, Lewis and Clark type shit. Like, are you going to be afraid because you saw a shadow in the woods and you're like, oh my God, there's someone else in the woods with me? Or are you going to be like, you know what? No, we're going to wake up in the morning. We're going to get a team together, get all the gear, get some food. And let's go figure out what's out there. Maybe they're strong and we can be allies and we can be friends and build a civilization. And then you become the Sumerians and you're fucking just killing it, you know? Like, it's not, you don't got to be afraid of it. Our galactic neighbors, there is this weird narrative that I see getting pushed by the alphabet agencies, the propaganda, the plants, Louis Elizondo, the plants, that aliens are always a threat. Like, I think that is some deep state shit to get us turned away from the actual Space Brothers. I hate this narrative, and it's going back to how we were talking about seeing the shadow in the woods and being afraid. That, I think, because of the free will agreement in the cosmos, the cosmic law, you cannot abrogate someone's free will. You cannot abridge someone's free will. If they're fearful, that is in a way them displaying their internal disposition, and that might prevent higher beings from contacting you, if that makes sense. If there's certain amount of animal fear on planet, it holds the process of integration up between planetary species. So we need to somehow deteriorate this fear that we have within every crevasse of society. That's right, I said crevasse, assholes. Crevice of society. And once we take that away, it'll make it easier for us to integrate. Because imagine if they try to integration and 50% of the population still fucking damn near scared is gonna pick up guns and stuff. They're gonna hurt our historical timeline more than help us with that, you know. But they want to integrate with us. They want to make contact, but they need to wait for the right time, because if they do it at the wrong time, it will hurt. It will cause chaos and people will start getting freaked out. So we need to be aware of the outlets that are trying to make people look at this entire subject as a threatening. They're going to take over and invade planet Earth. Trust me, if they wanted to, they would have done it way by now, and they might already have. Cue the starseed theory.
I had a line of thought, and then but it was like 30 seconds to a minute ago.
So
Trying to remember. Oh, the fear, something about the fear thing. Oh, like I was saying, like all these, we love Star Trek for the sake of the adventure, not like because we
Yes.
get scared when we see the next alien race that we want to pick a fight with. It's like it's that adventure. And last night I was talking about how I think we're gonna see, you know, with the full acknowledgement of the truth about other intelligent life. I think we're actually gonna see a select group in humanity rise up to the challenge. It'll become such a catalyst in their life that they might become the team that like studies an alien language 10 years later. Like
dude, that'd be so sick.
the amount of inspiration that can pour out of exciting times and discoveries. And it's like, oh, the way this sort of propaganda kind of gets you is that like how crazy, you know, that fear narrative of like, oh, they're more advanced and they might be a threat to us. It's like we should keep it all a secret and try and take the technology. Like that's like honestly, we kind of treat other human countries on Earth in a similar way. We're like this group bad, you know, don't go there. But yet there's a core select group of humanity who's like, yeah, like of all the crazy social things that have happened in that area of the world, like I still want to travel there.
Yeah.
Like the amount of history on humanity in these sectors, like everything is evolving, and yet, you know, you kind of get this idea in your place that like, oh, the people there scary, us good, and be afraid of them, and we're projecting that same idea onto space, like, oh, these people, and we're just adding extra fear because they're clearly more technologically advanced, you know, if they can get here in spaceships. But it's like that's like the same distortion that we're using on Earth, and neither of those thought forms are entirely true. I would say that there is some amount of caution because we know growing up on an animal planet that there is scarcity. There is the natural kind of fight for evolution and survival, and in a way some of those ideas, you know, still live in the other 3D cosmos in the mortal species. So like obviously we shouldn't be entirely naive. We know what it takes to have the wisdom to survive on Earth. However, the thoughts that we're sort of projecting, we're sort of like living in the lower animal fear instead of just letting it be caution and then taking steps to develop a relationship with the truth, making sure the public is aware, developing an actual relationship, you know, with extraterrestrial beings. But like, who is ready for that in society? Because we haven't taught it like that. That's so everyone's still scared of like a first contact moment.
It is weird. Yeah, the picture you're painting in my mind, it's like because we're evolutionary humans and we're so used to just surviving in the woods pretty much, we automatically project that up into space. And like they've been out of the woods for a long time. Like, come on, guys. Like, we don't think like that anymore. We are a galactic federation of planets that have been around for billions of years. Like, we don't think like we live in the woods anymore. There's a lot higher values that we're thinking about and trying to externalize, actualize, and harmonize with other planets. I'm not even sure if you're allowed to go around and dominate planets like that. I think that there's even an infrastructure of higher up, like super high up angels that are kind of the police for the universe, and they will never activate unless you start doing that kind of shit, like, you know, taking over planets with ships. I don't even think that's possible. I don't think, like, unless it's between two races that are extremely advanced, you know, like they both know about the cosmic hierarchy, like neither are naive, and they're like, we go into war with each other. You know,
That's
like,
a good question.
right?
Yeah, are space wars allowed? I mean,
Our space wars.
we have a story. Is Star Wars even possible?
Exactly.
We have a story that like Mars used to have life, but they like nuked themselves out.
Yeah.
However, that's like a story about the inhabitants of Mars warring with each other. So
Nuking
it's
themselves,
like
yeah.
you don't necessarily have higher up ET angelic beings like stopping self-destruction.
Yeah. Exactly.
I tend to take that to also mean that there's quite a bit of I think that there's a lot of leeway for interaction with other planets. I see it the same as interaction with other countries, where I don't think the police
they'll let it
government
happen?
step in. I think they do let it happen because
Space
it's all
wars.
part of the same time space
Getting
sandbox.
crazy, dog.
So
But I'm saying, would they? Okay, that's okay. I think they would allow a space war, but I don't think they would allow an advanced planet to invade like a primitive planet.
hmm.
I think there's like that's where they'd step
Yeah,
in. Like
okay.
Gabriel's crew would be like, "Halt! You are in violation of code. You cannot like." But if you're like kind of invading another planet that's the same level
Yeah.
as you, and you know about each other, they're like, "All right, let's let them duke it out." You know, it's like
Right.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
let your like 22-year-old son swing at your three-month-old baby, would you? You'd stop. You'd be like, "Hey,
There,
whoa,
you
whoa,
know,
whoa!"
there is actually, we do have kind of two sources that talk about this. So your Rancher book mentions a bit of a spiritual quarantine of the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah.
But the Your Rancher book readers sort of tend to take that, I think, a little too far, in which they kind of means we're entirely isolated from like spaceships even being allowed in our atmosphere.
Maybe
Where
it's
I
only
don't think that's true.
certain things.
I think it's more like the on the spiritual level, not really, but the other part that is about the quarantine is that I think Ra in the Law of One talks about this, but he actually says that there is like like a force field around Earth, and the Guardians actually
yeah.
use it to keep some ships out.
Mhm.
But sometimes there's natural openings which
Yep.
some species sneak through, and they still kind of make it undetected. And so it's like they can't stop every possible entrance, but they do actually stop a lot. Now, it's interesting that Ross says that, because that's more of like he's talking about like ET craft, spacecraft. So
Are you going to bring up what else he talks about in that same area? I think, if I remember right,
what does he say about
he
the
says
Orion group?
that periodically the Guardians have to let down the shields for X amount of time, and then they can put them back up, like due to law. Like they can't keep them up
Oh,
completely
okay, yeah.
forever. Like every 1,000 years, they have to drop them for like 100, and then something weird like that. Yeah, kind of weird. Just adding to what you're saying.
Yeah. No, that's I think so. I think there is like some level, but I tend to kind of lean that they let the free will beings kind of do their thing, but there might be thresholds to it, like, you know, how many are allowed to be here at one time, because there's a shield up, and like it's not like entirely free access.
You're right.
But there's still like some access.
It's just a quarantine. It's
yeah.
like a special rules, but
You could also say that maybe when Earth's quarantine originally happened, the species that were here got like stranded here,
JJRD.
or it's like their race was allowed to visit some because they already had a presence here and they were part of the social consciousness of the planet.
Interesting. Okay.
We have one book that claims that there was some aliens here, and but they died and they got caught in the incarnation cycle here on Earth, meaning their souls kind of got up to our soul sphere, hovering around the planet, and then they got reborn into a human body. That's kind of a hot take.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Roswell incident?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Errol.
Roswell, Errol.
Yeah, Area 51 or Area 52, I forget which one. They just went over that same story, and I was like, hey, we did that first. But yeah, go check that out. We got the Errol Roswell interview, really cool. She claims that she was a pilot in the Dominion craft, and they landed here a long time ago, and their souls ended up getting reincarnated into human bodies, and that the army nurse that was contacting the crashed saucer occupant was one of these beings. I know we're not going to explain the timeline now, but if you think hard enough about what I just said, it makes sense. What were we talking about before that?
The social consciousness, the fear, the kind of animal fear that we project from humanity out into space.
Oh, I like, space, the final frontier.
Yeah.
Fear is a barrier not only for us, but it's also a barrier for making contact with the higher beings, because obviously you don't want to scare people. That's not nice. But the reason why we're doing these podcasts and having these conversations is to hopefully alleviate some of that in some of the listeners and the viewers of this. So like when you look into space, you should get that excited, adventurous feeling. It's the final frontier. What we're talking about right now, it's new. It's uncharted territory. The government has been classifying reality since the early 1940s. And the reality that we are part of a galactic federation, an entire organization of cosmic citizens, planets, and star systems. Hey, buddy. The fact that we're part of that needs to be taught to every man, woman, and child from birth, or else it's depriving them of a true life on planet Earth. And that's the truth. So the only way we can get this out is through conversations like this. And if you're listening to this, understand that fear isn't the dominant force in the universe. Adventure, spirit, brotherhood, courage, growth, evolution, those are the dominant forces in the universe. And if you identify with those, you become more real. Fear is unreal. That's not a reality. That can't exist at the very top. It's a shadow. It's a distortion. It's a trick that's played upon you. So you have to let go of that and just ride the wave, man. Like, why wouldn't you want to ride the adventure wave? That's what we're doing. That's why we're here right now, going to contact in the desert. No one, we're not Nepo babies. Like, we weren't born to like famous UFO researchers and shit. Like,
passed on through our genetics.
Yeah, my parents think I'm crazy for this shit. My dad is a fucking Marine Corps officer, graduated from the Naval Academy. My mom doesn't think I'm as crazy, but she's a therapist, so she's cool. But we just started asking questions at a young age, and we started realizing, wait a second, no one's teaching this in schools. No one's telling us about the greater picture, the big picture. If you look at a picture and you just look at the corner of a picture, you see someone's toe or like the part of a tire, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? I don't even know what this picture is. But you need to zoom out and see the big picture, and you're like, oh, I get what the picture's about. Same thing with the universe, but they're not teaching that big picture. So we live in we're at the frontier of mind, body, spirit. We're at the frontier of space, the frontier of reality, like dimensional perception. And all of this is happening with the internet, people having conversations, YouTube, independent journalism. We decided to ask these questions when we were young, and we linked up over similar harmonious concepts. And now we're creating this together, and we're going to contact in the desert to network so that we can fast track that mind, body, spirit building in your city and get that app in your phone. You have to get out there and do it. You can't just sit in your room and think about it, time and space is mind, body, spirit coordinate. It's not just mind coordinate. You can't just sit there and think your way to God, bro. You got to fucking act and put your fingers in the dirt, get a little cuts, get a couple cuts, get bruised up, and that's how you get to God, man. Because God's a tough ass bastard. He's not some weak ass who's like, oh, imagine if he was weak, he wouldn't have created the universe. He wouldn't have had the balls to. He wouldn't have had the motivation. He'd laid in bed all day and be like, ah, nah, I'll think about it for a while. No, he could, like, if he did all this to create you, the least he could do is do something back for him, you know? So get over the fear. Space, the final frontier, you know? That's what I'm talking about. Like that stoic Lewis and Clark. You're part of it too. And you got our email, legacyfhp@gmail.com. Hit us up so that we can actually, you know, start coordinating this shit. If you really feel like called to your soul, join the Discord. And check out them shirts, baby. $30 a pop. Legacy FHP shirts. I got mine upstairs. I'm not wearing it right now. Right now I'm rocking that. What am I rocking? I'm gonna show the people. I got fucking Master Chief, baby.
Halo.
The original Halo Combat Evolved shirt that came out with the game. Yes, right. A little swagged out.
Sick TV show. I know that
It is a
true
good-
gamers don't like the TV show.
I like it, man.
I love it.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool. You know that it got dropped and picked back up by Netflix.
They're gonna go season 2?
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah, they made season 2. They're gonna do season 3.
Oh wait, yeah, I
Yeah.
did watch season 1
Yeah.
and 2.
Yeah. So
Huh.
Paramount dropped it. Netflix picked it up. I hope it's gonna be good. I hope Netflix is gonna do it right.
Dude, that was killer. They had some psionics. They had some cool psychic stuff that I didn't expect in
Yeah.
that.
Oh, me too.
They're astral projecting to the ring, basically.
And that wasn't from the game either. That wasn't in
Yeah.
the game. Like that was new. And I
They
was
added that, and that's more real than you. That's like just
Yeah,
as real as
I don't
like
mind
the
it at all.
3D aliens.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. I honestly think he could have kept his helmet on.
I heard that's what most people were
That's
upset
it.
about.
That's
Yeah.
like, come on, man. Chief ain't got a face, but
I see what they wanted to do though. They were trying to create
Make
a
it-
personal connection.
yeah. And I did like that. So in my
Mandalorian
head,
did it too.
yeah.
you
In
know?
my head, I was like, if I were to just get that one part about the Master Chief that like always has his helmet on, it's good. Because I was like, okay, he did kind of have a little bit of emotions to be Chief, but at the same time, it wasn't bad at all because like it showed you the human side of Chief, like how he got to be so hard. He went through a lot of hard things. At one point, he was kind of, you know, human, and then he got just like tough. I don't mind it, but whatever. This ain't a Halo podcast. Hey, Halo podcast coming out soon next week. 3 hours of nothing but Halo lore, which is actually I'm a fan of. I read that shit on Reddit all day long. The Marines from Reach and all this shit.
I do find it interesting though. There's an analogy in Halo that's kind of real to life in that in Halo you have the humans and the Covenant alien race both racing towards a more ancient alien technology known as the Ring,
Yep, the Forerunner technology.
and it incorporates with the Covenant sort of religion as well.
Yeah. Mhm. Yep.
And yeah, that's an interesting concept because we're being told that there's multiple countries that have access to these UAP non-human technology, and that there's a sort of race in the background to reverse engineer and use this technology.
That's exactly what they're
And
doing.
that's what they're doing. But
That's
then there's
how they
also
created the shields for the Spartan armor.
Oh,
They
okay.
reverse engineered it from the Covenant technology.
sick.
Yeah. Some lore. Yeah.
Mjolnir armor.
Yeah, the Mjolnir. Yeah, that shit's hard.
And so yeah, so that's going on in real life now. Now the other interesting part of it is that the Covenant, they have like almost a more religious and spiritual angle tied into their looking up to the older space races, and that's interesting as well because throughout all of human culture, we do have stories of non-human beings being looked up to and bringing messages from the gods
Like
and
religiously, yeah.
yeah, and changing our DNA. Even angels, like, get this. I had this thought earlier. I'm like, okay, you're scared of aliens. What do angels say whenever they show up?
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid. Because they know that our first reaction is fear. And that's
Fear.
part of the animal inheritance.
Mhm.
And it's also part of just like that scarcity, a world within war where we still battle each other. So there's no sense of like true comfort between countries. Like you can never really relax in the room because you're always on edge and you got to keep up certain
Yeah.
appearances and wartime mindsets to make sure that no one pulls one over on you. It's like a weird necessity of
Yeah.
survival, but that's not our destiny. That's not the end game. We need to relax enough to work as a planet together to get to the stars and start integrating with the other working groups of non-human beings. That's in our future, like no matter what. As like it just takes us like getting out there to the stars and the technology
Inevitable.
inevitable. And so yeah, you're bringing that back to that Halo analogy. It's like, oh, the spirituality angle. um
No, I do like this actually.
yeah.
I do. In the future, we should analyze Halo and try to tie it with all the
Mhm.
spiritual books that we read. Be like, so Halo's kind of on point. Um, that's hilarious. That's good to know. And what you're talking about with the Covenant, because a little bit of background story with them. The Covenant is multiple different alien races, and they all have the same religion, right? Because you fight brutes, you fight grunts, you fight elites, you fight jackals, you fight a bunch of different types of aliens, but they're all belong to the Covenant. And they have like a caste system within their religion, but everybody's equal. They just have different jobs because they're different shapes of beings. They have different, there's different races of aliens. They can do different things. And they're going to the ring, which is a forerunner technology, an ancient, a more of the precursor. That's why they call them the forerunner race, an older race. And we figure out the show actually pulls off this, which is what I like. How Master Chief becomes a psionic is you realize in the entire Halo game, you're like, who are these forerunners? It's crazy. Like this is a wild and ancient race, and then you realize they're humans.
Really?
The forerunners are humans.
Spoiler, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah. Well, you know the girl that they have, that the Covenant have.
Yeah.
She's a forerunner.
Yeah, but she was a human that they picked up from a planet. So you just mean she related genetically?
Yeah, so I guess that's why Chief can also have these visions.
Has a genetic link to the Forerunner race.
So it'd kind of be like that Lyrian starseed.
Yeah, human Lyrian
human seed got seeded throughout the cosmos. Yeah, and that's what they're playing on with that. And you realize that in the game later, like, oh shit, the Forerunners are humans, and the Covenant. I guess in ancient time, the humans with the Forerunners ran the entire religion, and the Covenant banded together and rebelled against the Forerunners and wiped them out. And that's why they consider the humans as inferior.
Okay.
And that's why they're trying to go around.
But now so much time has passed, they forgot that they forgot the origin of the Forerunners, and now they kind of worship the Forerunners just because of technology, and they just mix it with their religion.
Yeah, and they still look at humans as inferior. So it's pretty gnarly. We'll analyze that through the Urantia lens coming soon. But yeah, it's interesting. I love that game. I was addicted to it, dude. 2 summers of my life, I did not go out that entire summer. I was like literally locked in my room playing Halo all day long. Fucking love that shit. But yeah, that's fun. The spiritual correlations between Halo and truth.
Yeah. Do you think there's gonna be like a new UFO religion that comes out of Disclosure?
Yeah, I think there'll be a couple of them. I mean, there already are a couple of them, but like serious ones, yeah, they'll start popping up. It'll be like fads.
And I feel like people will think they're memeing at first, but then like at 10 years later, they'll be like, no, that church still talks, like their main focus is like worshiping the space humans somehow, or like UFOs, ancient technologies. Like, I'm wondering how,
Are you talking like an institutionalized religion that's kind of distorted, or are you talking about like a true like Star Trek organization that doesn't worship him? But
I'm talking about like a new form of
cult?
like religious cult, but like a mix of like science and like looking up to alien philosophy or something, or I don't know, like it's that same kind of worship circuit that we have. We tend to try and worship things and idolize things, whether it be our religion or just material objects, whether it's like our favorite sports players and stuff, that in our head we're like, oh, they're just like characters I look up to, but in a way, you kind of treat them as God. You let them influence you. You're that inspired by these people, when really that inspiration should be turned on to true spiritual reality. What is the original thought?
I think there'll be a gray area between disclosure to the population and actual contact, because the aliens can speak for themselves. Like once we like it's happening now, like the government's saying like they're here. So once like the populace says, okay, we realize they're really here, but at that point they haven't actually come forth and spoken with us like on a big news network. It'll be all conjecture. All these little crazy UFO cult religions will pop up I feel like the Christians will try to control it. I think they're going to be like, these are the angels or the demons, and they're going to try to, maybe the current major religions will try to control it and say, and like try to force the people to look at it through their religious book or religious lens until the Space Brothers come forth and speak for themselves. And then they're going to be like, you guys are all fucking idiots. And then we'll be like, oh, we get it. And then at that point, it'll be split between the aliens are lying or they're not. And the aliens would have to tell us our own history. And once they tell us our own history, we'd realize, oh, they're not lying. You know what I'm saying? Like they'd have to convince us.
I don't know if we'd believe it. If aliens told us our history, we wouldn't believe it.
Half would. Half,
I know this is a fact because we have a book.
Yeah, like exactly. Half the people wouldn't. I mean, but what if they could like show you holograms?
Holograms? It's deepfake, bro. It's AI.
Wow. And maybe that's why they're creating AI to make us not believe the Space Brothers when they land. Because maybe that's their first tactic when they land is just show the populace their history to win trust. You know, I'm sure there's like standard textbook for first contact. At least in Star Trek there was. You know, you gotta. Yeah. Hey, we're in the middle of a video right now. My producer needs some electrolytes. Sorry, guys. There you go. What were we talking about? What were we just saying?
I don't know. But I was gonna show here quick what kind of gear we're working with to do some of this content. Canon cameras.
Hell yeah. We're filming on one right now.
Rode microphone. Yeah, that's about it for this setup right here. Run and gun video shooting.
A Canon Rebel on a 24mm macro lens. It's a drop-proof, shock-resistant, military grade, as you can see. Small rig, top handle, rolling with a little Rode mic, little Rode Video Mic Pro shotgun. It is fucking tight. We're gonna be vlogging as we go around CITD. I'm gonna be asking people what they think about the Space Brothers, what they think about the Urantia book. Giving out some cards. Did you show them what the cards look like? We got some cards that came out. They're pretty cool.
No, there's no image of that online at the moment.
Oh, there isn't.
Y'all are gonna be stoked, and we're gonna use. We got some funny videos to use in the podcast. We'll see if we can show one to the camera here. Oh, the focus is gonna be. Is it on autofocus?
It is on autofocus. Let's see if I can catch it. Oh, almost. Get your face out of the shot.
Me?
Yeah. There you go.
Hey, let's go.
There you go. Got that brand new made. You can go check that QR code as well. Pretty cool, right? Me handing them out at Contact in the Desert. So people will be able to tune into all the bullshit we be talking. That's cool. Just trying to get the word out there, baby. Trying to help the planetary brothers and sisters hit their mark. It's important. It's an important mission. Like we said, the final frontier. Is there anything more exciting than like doing something with a team? Like if you go out on a team on an adventure for treasure hunting, it's fun. If you do a physical activity with a team of 10, a team of 5, it's fun. Rock climbing with a group of people, awesome. Bowling, playing paintball. This is what's called fun in life, people. It's what's called hobbies. This is what we do to like live and exist. This is the spice of life, the art of living. That shit is fun. Now think about working on a team to literally uplift the planet, to repair the planet, to salvage the planet because it's so distorted. Is there not a more noble mission and a fun set of fun set of operations to do with a group of loving people? You know, like to me, it's clear and obvious. We should all be focused on this mission. You know. Oh, thanks, buddy. All right, mister. Can you get out? We're making a video, please. Thank you. The adventure, the teamwork, I'm thinking about every time I've gone out with a group of friends and done something fun or accomplished something fun. Those are memories in my soul, and I carry them with me. I can't wait to carry the memory of, you know, rebuilding the planet with people that I have met down here, and I'm going to carry that up into the cosmos, and that's going to be forever a gem in my soul. I want you guys to be able to carry that with you too, because a lot of people are going to die and go up there and look back. Not only A, did they ever figure out this meaning of life, but B, they're just not going to have that, oh, I participated while I was down there. It's just going to be like, I kind of floated through. And I don't want that for you guys. You guys can already tell how that's going to feel, you know? So you're still alive. You're still breathing. Pick your shit up. Let's go. We still got work to do, is what I'm trying to say. And I want you to have that feeling. When you get up there, your treasure is going to be in heaven, like Jesus said. And when you get up there, you're going to be like, you're going to wake up amongst all the other people who died on earth. And they're going to look at you and be like, oh, wow. You have a glowing gem, you know, a special gem, and nobody else has it. They're like, oh, you did it? You actually got on the program while you were alive? And, yeah, I did. Like, wow, that's going to be a huge badge of honor, dude. Out of all the people on earth, you know?
I had a thought from kind of pop into my head about the military and their connection to, you know, the UFO stuff. I had sort of an inspiring view in which, as disclosure happens and more people find out about this cosmic truth that we are not alone, imagine if over like the next 10 to 15 years, what happens to our military is that the more and more people join the military in order to actually be part of the cosmic space program. And we think less about how we war with our brothers and sisters on Earth. And now this would take a massive culture change, because that's Star Trek. Yeah, there's those. They're kind of like a military. Yeah. Now, obviously, we're not trying to suggest a dystopian version of this, of like militarizing space per se. It's more about like the culture of inspiration. It's like the reason for the military will be for like just planetary maintenance and security, that we work together as a planet. You know, just making sure we have our own civil sovereignty, and trade relations between planets. And you know, the military's responsibility. Oh yeah, go ahead. You can sit here for a sec until Dedrick gets back. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm picturing this cool kind of culture change that might arrive alongside this subject. And yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on that? Like, heck, if the military was now more like less about internal wars on Earth and more about like the cosmic space program, and it's sort of like a public thing, like I'd do my 5 years in the military if that's what was going on. You know, it might even be more like if you want to access a scientific career in space, you have to go through, you know, some of the military program. That would make sense to me. You know, it doesn't just have to be private companies. You know, private companies also have somewhat of a profit motive. You know, that's why you get like the space mining companies in movies like Prometheus and Alien. You know, what is it called? The Walter Company, or the Wayne? Not quite Wayne. Wyland, yeah. Wayland Corporation, yeah. It's like private corporations in space, and they gotta like make money and mine asteroids, and some people run into aliens and die during that process. So xenomorph. So you know, I don't have any problem if we unite as a planet and kind of do it under somewhat of a unified military program.
Yeah. Well,
it could be a positive thing.
You know, the thought that came in my mind when I went to use the bathroom right now is that I foresee in the future all Space Force officers having to attend Legacy University for cultural training,
for social
space,
training,
yeah,
for space relations,
space relationships, yeah. And because you can't go in there militarized, you got to go in there like Captain Picard.
Thought forms, they do not vibe with really interacting with the cosmos. They vibe with like dominating and like just keeping us safe to the point of paranoia.
And like, and that's a trick. I always say that, like, it's a fear-based mentality. Like, I'm friends with some special forces guys, and they're trained, but you start to see that like they're dominated by fear too. It's like you always have to be ready because something bad could happen. And if
Being ready for the worst instead of being ready for
the
the
best,
most,
the
the
most,
best.
yeah, exactly. The qualitative as opposed to that fear quantitative. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say? Um, I'm saying because like if you gather up all those times and plotted them on a chart, those 1,000 times you were in fear because something might happen, nothing ever happens. You know, and the Urantia book says the worst type of anxiety is for things that never happen. You know, so like as a quantity of all those times, you're missing out. You're missing out as opposed to in every one of those moments you could be observing the quality of that moment. You're missing out on that. You're trying to get a bulk safe zone for fear through the quantity, and it's fucking dumb, I think. And like you enter a room, and it's almost like we have to have this posture of fear because something bad could happen. And if you like call them out on it, big deal, why you got to be like that? It's not. They'll look at you like stupid, you know. No, you're naive. But if you walk, then you both walk away from the situation and nothing bad happened. So who's more naive? The person who acted like something bad was going to happen, but nothing ever did, or the person who was like, "Hey, bro, chill. We don't need to act like that because ain't nothing going to happen." And then when you go into the room with that mindset, it auto puts fear into the situation. You know, if you like, it's like mob bosses that go to a deal and they have a gun right here, and you're like, it's just for safety,
Hmm.
but it already adds that tension in the air. But you're like, there shouldn't be any tension because just for safety. But like you just thinking like that, you're automatically adding fear into the situation. So it's like this whole being safe mentality. It's like coming to the room with a gun, you know? It's like you're automatically adding that into the situation. We need to learn to stop thinking like that. I'm not saying don't be prepared. Yeah, have the shit you need to, but don't always be like locked in a state of animal fear. And that's that militarized way of thinking. It's like cheating. It's I can walk into the room and induce fear in the guise of defense and then strong arm people. And that it's a distortion that I don't know where I read that, but somewhere in one of the texts I read it said a species cannot be allowed into space with weapons. Like you can't put weapons on spacecraft and attempt to fly through intergalactic space.
Hmm.
Like your crafts have to be weaponless.
I Yeah, again, I'm more on the loose end. I think we can travel into space with guns. No one's
Ooh.
gonna stop. There could be so Galactic Federation like trade things with other
If they
3D
find you
species.
with guns on
They
your
could
ship,
definitely come up with laws like, look,
like
when you're in this zone, like
no gun
you
zone.
can't bring guns. Like that makes sense because they're trying to avoid creating attention
Yeah.
and create like a social. Isn't that funny? Like even amidst a world of war, we have these like demilitarized zones and
Yeah.
like you
No
know,
guns here.
yeah, no guns
War on
here.
this side, but this little
Yeah, yeah.
strip, no guns.
It's like we need like a little pause. Both sides want like a place where you can just take a little pause and
It's
and think about if you still want to keep fighting
yeah.
or if you can come up with a deal and amicable relationship.
Yeah. It's funny. It's just like ingrained in it. But space guns or no space guns? I don't know. Hopefully, go into contact in the desert and we'll find some answers, and they'll land and tell us themselves. Um, yeah, it is a thought provoking concept. The different trade relations between different planetary systems, the different laws, because you're right, there could be like higher galactic law and then like lower physical ET planetary trade relationship laws.
Yeah, my favorite book on this is by Marshall V.N. Summers, and he talks about trade relationships between the 3D species and kind of how it operates. So definitely check out his stuff. He does a lot of content on Twitter and like in social media
Who?
too. Marshall V.N. Summers. He's like
Marshall Beyond Summers. Okay.
looks like he's in his 60s or 70s, and he has write a lot of like channel type books about from the others and wisdom from the others and how we as a planet need to progress to wisely step into this next cosmic age.
Do you think there's a possibility of it happening within our lifetime?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same here. I really do. I feel a buzz in the air, you know? It's funny because we're going to contact in the desert, but we know there's a price point on the tickets. Therefore, it'll be a barrier to entry for the younger crowd. But we know the younger crowd is one of the main subscribers to this topic. So it's like we're trying to get a gauge onto what type of crowd's going to be there. Is it going to be the more OGs in the crew, you know, like the Ancient Aliens guys and Jacques Vallée, Jeremy Corbell, shout out Jeremy Corbell, you know, Baal Bazaar, that camp, they're a good generation, 2 generations separated from us, you know. We're going there by the grace of the Urantia Fellowship. Shout out to the Urantia Fellowship. Shout out to the Urantia Foundation. Yeah, they're the ones that are funding for us to go. But that's like we don't have enough money to go. Is what I'm trying to say. And like the older people, they do, you know. So it's like we're gonna go there and talk to as many people as we can, but we are wondering where the younger representation is when it comes to being offline too and getting in groups and doing this. And that's why we're trying to create the legacy app so we can start coordinating and mobilizing, so you don't have to pay a bunch of tickets, pay a lot of money for a ticket to get to a conference of other people that are like-minded and also want to experience some type of celestial truth, see aliens, not just see aliens, but increase their mind, body, spirits too. So go buy a shirt and you'll help us get that legacy app in everybody's pocket. So hopefully we can start doing this in groups together and it's more prevalent. Like think of an advanced planet, think of their people and think about when they're going through this stage of development, or think of them in an advanced stage of development. Their youth, all of their people, they'd be grouping together, amassing together to work on their mind, body, spirits, to make sure the planet is increasing, trying to make breakthroughs in scientific advancements. So imagine being on that planet. Their youth would not just be talking about it on social media. Their youth would be mobilizing, getting together, and actually changing the face of planet Earth. So that's what I'm trying to talk about. We will, with the Legacy app, hopefully we can start to coordinate miniature CITD contact in the deserts for a price point that is $0. So buy yourself a shirt. Tay Chilla, you can't see him over here, but he looks like Doctor Strange over here doing some fucking portal opening techniques. I don't think it worked, bro. You still here?
Stretching. Oh, it works if you do it long enough.
Yeah. How long have we
About
been
an
going
hour
for?
in.
Hour in? Okay. We can end it in a bit and get some food in our system. And we can give them another one later tonight. But yeah, we're just rambling. We're getting ready. We're actually leaving for the desert tomorrow morning. So we're chilling in SoCal with some of my fam and friends right now. Enjoying the weather. It is beautiful weather out. San Clemente, Dana Point, if you know where that is. And you guys are local and watching this right now, hit us up in the chat. Join the Discord. Send us a message. We will gladly accept a beer from you guys. What time's right now for us?
11:46.
Damn. Okay. Good.
You think we'll even accept a beer from a federal agent?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah, we'll put it out there.
I mean, if
to our CIA and FBI handlers in the chat.
Yeah, I was about to say if they're onto us like that, they're already monitoring us and know us. So I might as well be friends with them. I was a big, hey dog, you can just tell me you're the agent. We can have an open conversation.
Open conversation. Here's what I know about the aliens.
Exactly. Tell you everything I know. Send this to your higher ups, dog, and introduce me to them. You know, because I got as long as you don't try to kill me and my family, like, there's no beef, dude. That's it. That's the only thing.
Yeah. No, I love those movies where like the federal agents get interested, but then once they meet the witness, they realize like what they're doing, it's legit. Like they're not actually bad.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, there's a working relationship and maybe they accomplish something together. Like that's kind of my vision for like how we need to go. Like you can't just always hate. A lot of the UFO people, they hate on government intelligence agencies because it's like, oh, they're the ones keeping the secret. But it's like, it's more than that. It's like those are just people too. Like when the mindset shifts and that inspiration wave gets caught in the culture, like it's gonna change in those agencies too.
Capture their hearts and minds.
Yeah, and that's like that's where the idea needs to change before the declassification can even happen. You can't declassify and then expect the culture to just change. You need kind of both things happening at once.
If it ain't in their heart, it's not going to declassify. But if you can win their hearts over, then they're going to declassify.
And I think as this process happens, like there's going to be some people who are going to finally be able to feel a little bit more relaxed. In the military programs, like we spent so many years being so afraid to speak out loud about
Amnesty.
anything.
Amnesty.
So yeah, no, I think that's going to be an exciting culture to kind of live in. I won't be surprised if there's some Joe Rogan guests in the future who are
Oh yeah.
those type of people. Like, yeah, I worked for 30 years in the
Damn.
UFO crash retrieval programs, and
If Joe
here's
was
some of the
smart,
things we did.
he'd like get Jamie and his team to like figure out an exact process for paperwork and whistleblower amnesty and like have that shit already at the office. So like when he gets him as a guest, he's like, I already have all the paperwork, like NDA, whistleblower agreement, sign these, and then like use his outlet as a nice a pure pipeline for whistleblowers. Like,
Oh, interesting.
you know
That
what I
would be
mean?
the government hooks up with Joe Rogan and they're like,
Yeah.
look, we want you to break the initial stories,
Yep.
gives them some safety on the biggest public kind of network.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be an interesting idea,
That'd be
but
fucking sick, dog. That'd be futuristic, baby. Rogan disclosing UFO for the CIA. People would be like, he already works for the CIA. It's funny. I don't want to have that conversation, but he clearly don't. He does like the aliens are a threat angle though.
mhm.
But you know,
But he's UFC. He wants to box with
he
them.
wants
He wants some new
do
competitors.
jujitsu with the fucking alien.
He wants to learn their forms of martial arts.
He would be the first person to do jujitsu with an alien. People say he'll be the first person to interview an alien on and live stream it. Not if we beat him to it. But yeah, what were you just saying about? You keep bringing up these concepts and I ramble and forget. What'd you say?
um,
Oh yeah, amnesty coming forward. The disclosure movement. Yeah, I have no clue who listens to this shit. We just make it because it's fun, and we make it because, like I said yesterday, we're working for our cosmic career starting now. So if we don't do it, we feel like we're not worthy of even wearing these human skin suits. I want to show the universe I'm worthy of wearing this body. It gave it to me, so I'm going to use it, But if you're listening to this and you're working in the government, you're a whistleblower, dude. You are the resistance. And/or step forward and talk to him. And if you want to reach out to us, thelegacyfhp@gmail.com. If you want to be cryptic about it, you can contact us on Discord and we can message over Signal. We wouldn't mind breaking the story whatsoever. Holla at your boy, Planetary HQ for show.
yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good ending here. I don't know if we have any words of power, any summarizations of our conversation.
No, we'll probably get live on later.
Yeah.
Again.
We'll save the
Yeah.
save the motivational speech for later.
Mm-hmm.
Get you back on.
Yeah, and once you leave this video, remember that we're connected through time and space via thought forms. If we think the same thought at the same time, we're connected. We're telepathically connected, even if we're conscious of it or not. So all these thought forms we talk about, hold it in your mind today, and we'll hold it in our mind today. Let's keep coordinating, dog. Eventually, we'll be face to face on Paradise. Kisses to the beautiful people and blah, 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 to the ugly people. All my brothers and sisters, because I love you guys. And honestly, this is how I talk to my best friends and my family members. So get used to it. D-Bake the Wise. Tay Chilla. We got any chats? Do we?
Yeah, we did. We got one chat here. You get more views if you photograph your dinner. Ack. From Ian. Sorry, Ian.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I got you. Okay. Tonight we'll send you a picture of our food and we'll post.
We'll start with talking about our food. Yeah.
And the thumbnail for Contact in the Desert will be our plates, right? Hopefully that'll get more views.
Yep.
Food from Contact in the Desert. Food review. You guys want to see that food review?
Legacy food prep.
No. Just kidding. No, but you will get the Legacy food prep coming soon because the Mind Body Spirit program. And we say eat the rainbow. And if you want some insight on how to, get those seed oils out of your brain, how you want to train your mind body spirit complex to eat something that your body can actually use as fuel, then we can write something for you. We got you. Coming at you live. Buy them shirts, baby. And hit that subscribe button. And do me a favor and lick that finger and hit that like button because it'll help get us to the front page because Contact in the Desert is tomorrow, baby. And we want to try to just get the message to the people. So with your help, we can do it. D-Bake the Wise. Dedrick, Tate Chilla.
Peace.
We out. I'm gonna stand up right now and press the end
Thanks for
button
watching,
because it's
everybody.
fucking way up here.
Yep.